Hello again. Welcome back. So obviously, Dune just came out. It's an amazing set, possibly if you're like an actual budget player. This is a tier list on the metagame because unfortunately I'm mentally unstable and I have no idea what would be considered bad if I didn't put it in a funny video to show you what it is. So that's today's video. We're gonna do it how MPT does it, where he just like goes from tier 1 all the way down to the bottom. Unlike what most people think, I believe Kashtira is the best deck. Kashtira is objectively a very dangerous deck right now. It's still got its annoying banishing Macrocosmos, has the annoying Fenrir, has the annoying Unicorn. It has everything it still wants to have and still very clearly shows that it's very much still annoying. Obviously, I think a lot of decks could possibly start pushing it out of the meta. I do think a ban list is required to finally kick off this deck. If you see me on Twitter, you know what I mean. Second deck, of course, I'm going to bring up is obviously Pearly. Pearly got amazing support in Dune. The E-Pearly Noir setting up an amazing monster for Pearlily to just push into everything under the sun. Lets you draw one, lets you set the trap and get into a Noir on your opponent's turn. Perfect card. Very good. Solid deck. Tier 2, I'll say Labyrinth's up there. Labyrinth's really nice. I think Labyrinth just like has a lot of good stuff in it, not because of the Labyrinth cards themselves. I think if you remove Labyrinth from all the rest of the trap card pile that's been created, Labyrinth would be possibly rogue at best. I'm sorry, Labyrinth players, get over yourselves. You guys still cope on Seal Drain. Next best deck, of course, Dragon Link. Dragon Link is surprisingly chaotic, and not because itself is bad. It's more just the concept of the dragon pile just being this omnipotent threat the more we get shit for it. Chaos Angel made this deck crazy. Yes, let's give fucking a dark and light based deck just the power to like basically summon any synchro at once and make those immune to everything under the sun. Bystials are still crazy even in like current format. Dragon Link is on the point of being another hit coming its way, more because it's just boring as shit to watch. Next best deck, Sprite. I'm gonna pile all these together in general thing with Runic and everything. I think Sprite, this format is good. Runic Sprite is nice. However, Sprite is on the edge of just falling out of the format. It doesn't do enough anymore as it did in Poet. It has another hit coming its way because of just people getting tired of seeing it. Same thing with like all these up decks besides Pearly. But I think the main thing that's gonna like cause Sprite to like fall out of like all form of fashion is just like them hitting Jet or Starter again, and then the deck will probably just fully die at that point. Tier 3, we're gonna go with the easiest ones first. We're gonna talk about the best ones. Vanadium. Vanadium's nice. It's definitely got the support definitely helps it a lot. Does it do as much as the upper decks? No. Do I think it's good? Yes. If you put this in like the format where Brand and Sword Soul were like the best decks at the time, no competition, it would have been like objectively better. But I will say that it's just like really just annoying what these like decks will do now. I just wish we had like more crazy shit for it, because like it's so close to being a really good deck, but it just doesn't push enough, I think, is what I want to say to it. It just kind of fucks off, and then like if you play like crazy, it goes crazy. If not, it dies. Next deck, Branded. I'm an advocate for this, even though I'm showing it's in like tier 3. I'm still an advocate for what I'm about to say. Branded Fusion should be banned or limited. One of those two. I'm tired of this deck. I'm not tired of the deck because it's good. I'm tired of this deck because it's so fucking boring to watch. Just like Dragon Link. It's, oh cool, does my opponent have Ash Blossom or do I get to full combo? If it does either or, it's very cool. Giving the person the ability to gimmick Puppet Lock if they want to is very annoying, even though I have not seen many people actually start going for that anymore. Most people are actually still going for Albaz Super Polys during your opponent's turn that people can interact with. So take that information with what you will. I will say Branded for now is fine. Next deck in tier 3, I'd say Sky Striker. Sky Striker is weird. It's just boring as well, just like the previous decks, but it's more so just like weird that people are still playing it. Like, cool, you summoned a Link 1 into a Link 1 into a Link 1, and oh, that's game. That's super interesting. Really helpful to the format. Definitely not boring as shit. Definitely not. Rogue. Plant Link. Plant Link's great. Obviously, it got the top 8 in Worlds. It's a really nice deck. However, once again, I'm putting in a Rogue not because it's bad, but because it's too complicated for people to play. Just absolutely shows off how amazing this deck can definitely be made. But I will also say that this deck is 100% pushing for like just the most weird application for it. Next up in Rogue, Synchron. Synchron's crazy, right? It can summon a bunch of negates and end on King Calamity and everything like that. That's right, Ash Blossom on our version of Branded Fusion. Yeah, Synchron needs chunks to be able to resolve just like Branded Fusion, except unlike Branded, Synchrons don't have a way to recover after you Ash Blossom it. They don't have like a secondary option to they don't have a way to end on Branded and Red plus Mirror J Pass. Synchrons, I'm glad it's at least Rogue now, but it definitely needs something more to like have multiple combo lines you can go into. Dark World. Dark World's great. I like Dark World, except when it plays the game. Dark World dies to Droll and Lockbird, Ghost Bell, Ash Blossom, Skill Drain. Basically, Dark World doesn't like having your opponent interact with it. It just likes doing its line without any form of interruption. If a Dark World player is against you on the table, just like cry if you don't have Droll in opening hands. Honestly, they're ending on 2 Graphas with 2 Snows ripping shit out of your hand. Cool. Super interesting and super interactive. Yeah, I'll put Circular in Rogue. Circular is Mathmech's a really nice deck. I think, honestly, it being still Rogue at best with only 1 Circular really shows that this deck was crazy strong and definitely deserved the hit. Like, Circular should not have been printed without any restrictions on it pretty much. And I'm glad that it is finally being like hurt in a way that makes sense while still keeping Cyberse decks having their line just made for it. Vanquish Souls is neat. I like Vanquish Souls. Kelly on Twitter will like tell you like this deck is crazy. It's super fun to like play against and everything. It really shows off like if you want a deck that explains fighting game perfectly, show a Vanquish Soul player your fucking hand of like fire, earth, and dark, and just look at their eyes fucking explode in enjoyment. I love it. But it's not good. The sad reality is that we don't have a good earth target for most of the cards like the OCG did. It's a really fun option, but it's nowhere near good. We got Rescue Ace. Rescue Ace support. Ooh, we really thought this deck would be really crazy good. No, it's not good at all. This isn't just like OCG versus TCG thing, or like Max C being the issue. No, this is 100% because the OCG physically hit every deck above this, just hurting them so much that Rescue Ace became a tier 1 or 2 threat in the OCG. I love it. I think it's great, but let's be real here. The TCG needs to start like hitting everything above this to make this thing even remotely good. Plunder's nice. I like Plunder. Plunder is a really cool deck. Obviously, it should be in Rogue because it can still actively play the fucking game, and it's pretty simple to learn and like master, and really teaches you a lot about like interacting with your opponent correctly. Ending on a token on your opponent's field against Kashtira really just fucking makes them cry. So many fun stuff you can do, just like it's just not good enough. You know, I will say they're fun and interesting. Last deck in Rogue. Sword Soul. Sword Soul's so fucking cool. Remember when this deck was like tier 1 like 2 years ago? Yeah, me too. This deck's fucking boring now. I think by this time next year, we're gonna all pretty much ditch Sword Soul, and Granny will be the next one to go, I think. Alright, decks that are in the future, really good. This is more just the linear progression box of everything I can't tier because it's super fucking weird. Number 1, Altergeist. Altergeist is really fucking cool. However, the deck doesn't do enough with 2 card combos being the way to start shit. Sorry to break the bubble of everybody's reality. Altergeist really wants like, if they want Altergeist to be good, they need to give it a 1 card starter. Until then, it's pretty much just Trap Tricks, but with a new coat of paint and with Spellcaster support. Speaking of Trap Tricks, trap tricks. The same boat as Altergeist, honestly. Beating this like super trap heavy deck with a monster combo in it really makes them both just like hurt emotionally when you look at Labyrinth up there in tier 2 and showing just how much better they are if they just had ways to continue playing during your opponent's turn. Exo Sister will top. I 100% expect that. This isn't even just like in the future anymore. This is just like expected, where Exo Sister will have its time to shine every other format and then immediately fall out of fashion. Like it's the coin flip deck pretty much. Do I like it? Absolutely. I think Exo Sister is an amazing deck that 100% needs support that makes it just like more consistent in the formats. Fluanderees. This was the second best deck in tier limit format 6 months ago. Here he is now. Why? Because Fluanderees has gotten nothing. No new monarchs, no new tribute summon materials, nothing new in the extra for it to like send off of Dogmaticas. It's just the same deck. Gold Pride Punk. This is more here because Gold Pride's indeed more, but this deck is absolutely great. People are scared to put more like off in or non-engine in this deck just because the deck is like weirdly complicated with it. It doesn't really make sense on why it does it. It just like doesn't have enough support in it yet, or like it doesn't have enough non-engine to like stop your opponent from playing like other decks do. But it is a nice combo pile. Infernoble is kind of in the same boat. I wish it was gooder, I wish it was better, but the deck is pretty bad. Makanko is a ritual deck that likes yoinking your opponent's monsters. 2 issues with that. Number 1, the top decks in the format either banish out your entire grave or shut down anything from interacting with it. So they really can't do that. Tier 2 is Sprite, so they can just negate it. Dragon Link has so many negates on the end board that doesn't matter. And Labyrinth is just trap cards, so they don't care. Every tier above in the future, I will say, has a way to stop Makanko from just grabbing their shit, including Rogue. Makanko just like, it doesn't do enough is the real issue with it now. Unchained is cool. I like the new support. The support and the new deck, beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. It needs more love and affection. The support doesn't do enough to get it out of, at best, Rogue. At worst, it's in the future. It needs another few, like, no longer like combo pieces. It now needs stuff to like end on better. It's cool though, I like it. And finally, oh how the mighty have fallen. This fucking deck deserves every hint of what's happened to it. Tier Limit's is a great deck when it gets its hits, and when it high rolls, and when it doesn't get negated by Ghost Bell or Silent Graveyard or anything like Droll or... Damn, there's a lot of stuff that negates Tier Limit now. Oh, and they use Dark World on their inboard? Kind of like they need a better deck to fucking work. We don't have Chaos Ruler, it's fucking mid. Tier Limit matches no longer exist. I give a shit. I'm happy. That's the list. Nothing really crazy about it this time. I just wish there was more for the deck. I like all these decks. All these decks are really cool. I just wish there was more stuff I could say is like tiered instead of the top 8 decks. But that's all I can really say. I hope you like watching this. Budapest.